Tippy Timer Damies, Top Cat here and welcome back to the channel. One of the most anticipated Warlock exotics this season, due to its seasonal bonus, was the Starfire protocol. Apologies it's taken me so long to cover this, but it wasn't working as intended. That was until this week. Here now, our fusion grenades are going to return energy from empowered weapon hits or radiant weapon hits from 3.5 to 5%. And by defeating targets with our fusion grenades, we are granted back rift energy. Now in the past we've used this for some monster boss bags and activities like our raids and dungeons, but I wanted to determine if this was actually the best course for it in our current sandbox. Our base fusion grenade does 856 damage. We equip Ember Char to increase our scorch stacks by 50%. This pushes our damage to 927. It doesn't sound like a lot now, but it will change that bonus damage later on. This is going to help create ignitions and gain more damage out of it. The touch of flame aspect is what gives this grenade its big PP vibe, as our fusion grenade will now come twice with one pump, doing 1619 damage. Now being a grenade kit, ideally we want our stats up at 200. This pushes out our single grenade damage to 2558. I've gone for a 4-piece grenadier set with 1-piece gunner, but still keeping its third spike statted towards grenade. We're going to be bouncing back and forth between our stats a little bit once I've determined the true yield of the fusion grenade's power. Shield Crush is going to increase our grenade damage and recharge rate whilst amplified or radiant. Fever and Chill is an easy way to become radiant with our rapid precision hits from our solar weapons, or we can simply just pop our wow and gain radiance for 30 seconds. But with the changes to our damage scalers, this only yields us a small little bump going to 2664. Now zagging back to our armor, I've chosen the Lustrous set from the Solstice. With 4 pieces of it we get the Cauterize perk, which allows our rapid solar final blows to heal us. With grenade spam on lock, this is no doubt going to be a great perk to allow us to heal, particularly being that we are standing in an empowering rift a lot of the time. And with that 2-piece perk, Photo Galvanic, we receive healing, flinch resistance, better handling and reload speed whilst wielding a solar weapon. This kit creates a lot of grenade spam, but we do need to juggle our dot damage around a lot in order to generate those grenades. So I kind of feel like this kit suits weapons that are going to aid in our allies' damage output, whilst allowing ourselves to throw out as many grenades as possible. Weapons like the Gjallarhorn and Hierarchy spring to mind, solid dot damage, and boosting others. But because of this I found we're not actually the highest damaging kit in our roster. I'm only really pumping out 5 grenades per damage phase and sitting in around that 29k 30 mark over 30 seconds. The hands down best exotic legendary weapon to use for any grenade build is going to be the Festival of Flight. This can just unload damage onto our targets. It's got Vorpal Weapon for bonus boss damage, but the real toy is that Blast Distributor, as it's going to gain 10 grenade stats per stack. As it chucks out multiple projectiles, it's super easy to get those stacks up nice and high. It stacks up as much as 5 times, so we can gain an additional 50 grenade stats. Each stack lasts for 5 seconds, so we can shoot, reload, nade, shoot, reload, nade, shoot, reload, nade ourselves through a damage phase fairly easily. What this does allow me to do is to drop my grenade stats down to 150 and still gain that 200 stat bonus for our grenades that we need. And trust me, even at 150, these grenades are still plenty strong enough to mess up your peons, oranges, yellows, and champs. Now the reason I've done this, I swapped 1-piece gunner amongst my grenade statted armor, as I don't believe this exotic works for pure DPS anymore, as there are some truly monstrous DPS kits out there. I'm not saying you won't be a vital part of the raid team, but there will no doubt be people out there being able to out DPS you. I mean, one of our traditional solar nades at max stats nearly does as much as my entire fusion nade arsenal done in one DPS phase. At 200 stats they can do about 8k per grenade, so it's plenty easy enough to dump this one strong grenade on top of my sanguine kit with Lord of Wolves to put out some absolutely monstrous damage. I'm still putting some tweaks on this one, but it should be coming out next week, so look forward to that. So knowing that, I'm going to curate this more towards running gunner, so we want to get that rift energy up as often as possible. We're using the empowering rift, of course, to make the Starfire exotic work. It's great, as even with just using our empowering rift, festival flight, and a couple of fusion nades, we can still get around 17k damage per the lifespan of a rift. We're going to be using that Helion, of course, so when we activate our rift, it's going to chuck out lava balls in people's faces, that scorch, and eventually trigger ignitions. This is great, as with Emperor Singeing, our class ability recharges faster when we scorch targets. This is a 400% increase to our base class ability recharge rate for 3 seconds when we scorch. So between that Helion, Radiant Shrapnel, and the artifacts, and our high yield scorching fusion nades, we can get a rift back from anywhere between 4 to 14 seconds with ease. This means we'll never be without an empowering rift under our feet. The more power at the feet, the bigger the yeet. Now we can't just rely on the Starfires for this. This is the reason I picked a gunner set of armor, so I can push up my class ability stats to 90. As every exotic boost or weapon boost is based off our stats now, not giving us a flat buff, it's all based off what we have equipped. We've got Emperor Charon, so our solar ignitions spread scorch stacks to affected targets. At base this is 40 stacks, with ashes this becomes 60 stacks. This allows us to make more ignitions in turn. We rock Emperor Blistering, so when we defeat targets with solar ignitions, this is going to grant us back grenade energy. This can be anywhere from between 8 to 25% based on the tier of the enemy defeated. We're rocking 1 Ashes to Assets on our helmet to give us bonus super energy from our grenade kills, with 1 firepower mod on our gloves to make us an orb of power every 10 seconds. This allows me to get a surge. We want that surge to last as long as possible, as our feet are generally planted in that rift for 15 seconds. I've got ×2 times dilation mods on my fancy arm bangle, pushing out an armor charge to 18 seconds per charge. As we are juggling our weapons a lot, I've got 1 solar surge and 1 strand surge, boosting each of them for 10% weapon damage regardless of what is in our hands. Now feel free to pause here for all my mods, fragments and artifacts, but there will be a dim link in the description down below. Is this kit what I originally thought it was going to be? No, definitely not. We're at the beginning of a new age of grenades, and this kit is definitely monstrous, but it does suit a more run and gun, cover to cover playstyle, over standing at a boss's ballsacks, lobbing nades up at his scrot. It will still work in those situations, but you're going to want to discuss with your team beforehand, are we doing rocket strat? If so, you're a go-go. Now I'm sure plenty of you guys have given these exotics a crack already this season before knowing they were bugged. I'd love to hear how you guys have positioned your stats. Make sure to thumb it if you dug it, sub if you're new, and as always, tippy tie my damies, what a tie.